Welcome to After Dark, Simply Stogies After Dark, number 13. Is it number 13? Is this the 13th?
Number 13, yeah, just a hair over a full year of doing this monthly live stream. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for asking. Look, if you'd like to join the live stream here with us live, you absolutely could do that. All you need to do is become a Simply Stogies LE Club member. $10 a month, $100 a year. Just go to simplystogies.com. Click that LE Club member at the top right corner, join, and you can jump on this. You'll get an email with the instructions on what to do and how to join us. And you too can kind of steer the conversation tonight. It looks like it's just myself and Tim, which I'm okay with
so far.
So far, we'll see who else joins. Before we get into sponsors and advertisers and those types of things, let me ask Tim, how you been, buddy? Like, what are you smoking something? Like, what do you?
Yeah, no, I've been busy. I'm a little tired. For those of you that know, for my personal job, I have to do a little physical fitness every 6 months, and I got done with that today. So I'm tired. And no, I'm not smoking anything. I came to this cigar podcast monthly live stream without a cigar. Are you crazy? No, I am smoking a cigar.
Oh, okay, good.
You want me to tell you what it is? Or
no? Well, yeah, go ahead. Tell me what it is. I don't know.
All right. Crown Heads, La Creme.
Oh, that's good. That's
a little cigar. Little cigar to start my night. How about you?
Yeah, I haven't lit this yet. I am smoking a Halloween Tatuaje Halloween, which was came in a 2-coffin set from the Saints and Sinners club from last year. So I'll be smoking this Halloween Capa Especial, and then my second cigar, because this is our only 2 cigar show we do. I'll be smoking this Halloween Reserva, the broadleaf. From Tatuaje as well. Great cigars. But before we go any further, I want to make sure that you guys know that this episode of Simply Stogies After Dark is brought to you by smallbatchcigar.com. Go to smallbatchcigar.com. Use coupon code Stogies, 10% off your order. Plus a bonus 5% reward points. It's always free shipping, always fast shipping. Some of the fastest shipping in the game, and you can find just about anything you're looking for there. Look, smallbatchcigar.com, they are aptly named because they support small batch cigar. They support the little guy, the boutique guys, the craft brands, the micro brands. Smallbatchcigar.com, like, you can find some really good new cigars, new to you, that you haven't, like maybe a brand you haven't heard of before. Matilde, Dapper, Stallone cigars, which is not Sylvester Stallone. Like, these are brands that are carried at smallbatchcigar.com. Maybe you haven't heard of. I mean, probably everyone's heard of Dapper.
I would assume so.
But maybe not. Smallbatchcigar.com. Use code Stogies, 10% off. Bonus 5% reward points. Always free shipping. Look, bank those reward points because you're going to want them here in a month or two. It's October. We're moving into November, December. It's going to be gift time. Your significant other's going to screw it up. Fuck it up. Don't let them do it. Use those reward points. Get what you want. Smallbatchcigar.com. Aficionados know, enthusiasts know, and now you know. Smallbatchcigar.com. This episode of Simply Stogies After Dark is also brought to you by Lure Cigars and the brand new, I don't even think it's out yet, the Brownie Trout. Now, this is the latest in Lure's line of catch and release. This is a limited cigar. It's going to come out here in the next couple of weeks. If it's not already out now, you need to ask your B&M to carry Lure and order the Brownie Trout. This is a San Andreas wrapper over Nicaraguan binder and fillers. It is notes of chocolate, nuts, caramel goodness. Just that description, that's not making your mouth water. The picture on the screen should. And I'm not talking about the brownie on the plate. What I'm talking about is the cigar there. Lure Cigars, smoke great cigars, tell tall tales. Lure Cigars. Try that Brownie Trout as soon as that comes out. That should be coming out soon. You like that or you like that? I think I like this better. What's
I like this better. Yeah.
Yeah. I need to light this cigar, Tim, is what
you probably should.
So you should
normally
probably take over for a minute while
Yeah,
I light this cigar with this giant ass lighter.
You know, I actually have one. I'm starting to like your blue a little bit better than the polished nickel or whatever color this is. But this is a phenomenal lighter. I saw this at the PCA trade show. You might have actually shown it to me. I'm not 100% sure.
I did.
But hey, look, I don't want to give you credit, but this thing, I've wanted one since I saw it, and thanks to our friends up north of me from Smoldering Cigar there in Livermore, they put in an order and hooked us up, I do believe.
Yeah, they really did. I do like this lighter. I got an Icon 3 as well from Vector KGM. Hashtag not a sponsor, but kind of wish they were.
Right.
Because they've got some really good stuff. So Tim and I didn't really get a chance to test. Is my connection good tonight? Better than it was last night or not?
So far, so good. We'll see how it goes as the night goes on. Yeah.
Looks like we've got one of our LE Club members who's just joined. It's Gesticles. What's going on, Gesticles? Welcome to the program.
Who's that? I don't know who we're talking about.
We're talking about you.
Okay.
How you doing?
Right.
I like that ashtray there.
Still trying to get things set up. Yeah.
No, it looks good.
Mixed opinions on it. Like, it's great, except they're not, like, apparently this edition wasn't weatherproof.
Oh,
and
no.
I had it outside like once and it got sprinkled on and practically like completely ruined.
So how does that is that just stay on there? The stinky ashtray, does it stay on by magnet?
Yeah, it's magnetic.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's great other than finding that out the hard way. My other complaint was normally it's really short. So I 3D printed a spacer piece, that swirly part in the middle.
I like it. I like it.
Arm height. So I can reach up here and can put stuff down on the tray right there. And rather than the tray being at like mid calf height.
I think he's going to start getting people asking like, "Hey, can you 3D print me that piece?"
That's what always happens. As soon as you say, "Oh yeah, I 3D print. Can you do this? Can you do that? How much?"
Yep.
Do this. Yep.
Yeah. It looks very, very, really nice. Gesticles, we're glad to have you. Thanks for jumping on. We'll ask your opinion on things if you got something you'd like to talk about.
No opinions on anything.
It's perfect. You know what? That's the kind of people I like. No, I like. We all have opinions. You've got to have opinions on something.
Not sure I have an opinion on that.
We'll figure it out.
We'll
price something out of you.
Yeah. So this is After Dark number 13. It's October, spooky season, which is why I'm smoking the Halloween. What are you smoking, Gesticles? I don't think I asked.
I got 2 Valakari sticks.
Yeah,
very nice.
I had that one a couple days ago, and it was pretty nice. So I'm trying out 2 more. I think
nice.
Did you get the sampler pack then, or?
Yeah, so I got the Astronomia, and then Nobility out here.
That's a good sampler pack. I bought one, tried it, and almost immediately went out and bought another one.
Yeah, it was like I was telling James. It was definitely surprising. Well, it smoked.
I don't understand why you guys are surprised. If I tell you something's good, it's usually pretty good. What is that? What is that? Now here's the thing. Like Gesticles has known me about as long as you have. Yeah, about as long as you have, Tim. And back in 2019, we had a mega herf at Casa de Monte Cristo.
Oh yeah, I've heard stories about this.
And that's where I met Gesticles here in person. So 6 years ago, like if I would have been like, "Hey man, like you should try this cigar. It's really good." Maybe not takes that advice from me in 2019. But in 2024, like if I say something's good,
then what should I go for first?
What are your options? Which one do you have? You got the Astro and the what?
Nobility.
Do the nobility and then end with the Astro. Astro's the broadleaf.
Both are good.
Both are good. Here's the thing about Gesticles. He typically smokes non-Cubans.
Okay.
Which means he smokes Cuban. Like he's a Cuban guy.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Like he's a big Cuban guy. Like that's the thing. Like so those are going to be both a little, I think, on the stronger side for you. Because you're going to be like, Jesus, what's this? And I'll be like, it's taste and flavor.
Oh, gotcha.
Good construction.
Taste, flavor, good construction.
Freedom. It tastes like freedom.
I mean, these sticks, my typical sticks are free from the reign of Cuba. So
yeah. But you prefer you prefer Cuba. Look, there's nothing better than a good Cuban. Cubans are great when they're great, and when they're not great, they're usually just terrible.
But we also have to remember and reflect on the price I paid for them versus what they are now.
So you're saying your stash is a little older then?
Yeah, majority of it is 2015 to 2019 at most.
Oh damn! So you've been sitting on it for a while.
Yeah, I like to refer to myself as a cigar hoarder, not a cigar smoker.
Fair.
Because I will buy them in fivers from people and then put them in my humidor with 3 on bottom and then 2 on top. They just stack really nice. So then you can't smoke one because then it'll be uneven or wonky like that. So then you just buy something else.
Ruin the aesthetics.
Yeah.
Ruin the aesthetics. Speaking of aesthetics, we're going to do something a little bit different. Starting with this show, as I look through the comments that we've got already here. Jay Riglet, that was a line of crap.
Which one?
Which one? I'm sure he's referring to something I said. I'm sure that's what it was. Is that he was referring to something that I said. If you guys aren't familiar, Jeff Dillingham, Jay Rigged, as some of you know him online. He's our newest reviewer. You can check out his latest review on the McAuliffe Red at simplystogies.com. Great review. I think the score's a little low. I think I would have given it a little bit of a higher score, but
my question is, did Jay Rigged get the email to join this live stream?
Oh no, if he didn't, if he didn't, maybe he's not going to smoke. Maybe he's
maybe.
It's fine. It's fine. You don't have to join if you don't want to. But we are going to do something a little bit different this episode as we. I look to find what I'm looking for. There it is. We're gonna do this. It's the Can't Clip My Wings news clips for the week, brought to you by Blackbird Cigars. Blackbird Cigars, Jonas and company there have done a great job. They've got their own factory now. They have grown leaps and bounds. And if you haven't tried the brand new Superb, which I think is a great cigar, you're doing yourself a disservice. Go try the Superb. You can get it on smallbatchcigar.com. But Blackbird Cigars, the Rook, if you love a good Sumatra, the Rook, they've got the Cuckoo Tin. That's one of your favorite cigars.
Indeed.
The Crow, they've got there's an exclusive for retailers, a cactus, I think. Look, go check them out. Blackbird Cigars. Can't Clip My Wings. We're going to talk about news clips this week. The biggest one, this show kind of got derailed a little bit because I figured we'd spend a little bit of time talking about the longshoreman strike. And then
that's all we do is get derailed. I mean, this is the 13th episode. Is this your first time here?
It might be. And then yesterday, they're not on strike anymore.
Oh, that quick.
Well, okay.
They were on strike. Now they're not on strike.
So everybody runs out, buys fucking toilet paper and shit, thinking that the world's going to end again, right? Like COVID.
Yeah.
And then they don't strike for that long, which is good news. It's good news. And basically what it is, they've just extended the contract through the 15th or the 5th of January. I think it's the 15th of January. Okay. And then if they don't have a contract in place by then, then I think they're going to strike again, but we'll see. Who knows? It's all political. It's all,
Got to get through the holiday season.
Well,
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you
I
need
think
your Temu order by Christmas.
I think you mispronounced political season, but sure, holiday season coming up. I mean, I understand what you're saying. Everything's a little political in today's world, but I'm very happy that people are getting a paycheck, which is the most important part of all this. If people are getting a paycheck, because look, a lot of us could do without toilet paper or cigars. I got enough cigars to last me a while.
So that I just don't understand why every time something happens, a supply chain gets cut, a virus breaks out. Why is it that the first thing we go for is toilet paper, paper towels, and the people who don't touch water, they touch 7,000 cases of Coca-Cola. All of a sudden, now they want to drink water like it's going out of style.
Let me just say this: invest in a bidet
as a water fountain.
No, as a way to wipe your ass.
Okay. Glad we straightened that out.
Yeah, clean your ass. Invest in a bidet. I'm just saying. It's life-changing. It's life-changing.
Do you have a bidet? And that's what I want to know.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I don't answer questions.
Yeah.
He's got an Iowan bidet. It's just a garden hose wrapped
It's
into
just
it.
it's just a garden hose into the.
I get it.
Yeah. Into the. You're such an ass.
Yeah, I don't get it, but it's good. I like the fact that it's no longer a big story, at least until what, January?
Until January, and then but will it be as big of a story? Because I think people were just worried about getting their Christmas gifts and their car parts and like bananas rotting on the dock. So
yeah, the bananas. That's what they were worried about.
I mean, even the PCA had put out a statement about it, saying look, it could affect cigar what's the word, shipments. Jesus, fucking words are hard tonight. As Jay Rigged without a camera comes on.
Well, there he is. At least he found the email. That's good.
Mr. Dillingham
got a microphone.
Yeah.
Are you not decent? Is that why you're at the camera? You're like, I can't come on camera, but I
navigating the controls as we speak.
I just love to give him.
Look,
Windows just started to update.
Fucking it is goddamn October. And
why does it look like the scene from Weekend at Bernie's?
I was gonna say it's 9:30 and this motherfucker's wearing sunglasses.
These are blue glasses. Drew Estate glasses, actually.
No. What's going on? What are you smoking there, Jeff?
Luciano, Fiat Lux.
Another solid stick.
Wait, the Tenebris or an actual Fiat Lux?
No, Tenebris.
Tenebris. All right, so I have a review of that coming out on Monday. What do you think of that?
Honestly,
honestly,
starting it. I've had them in the past, but I really never paid attention to it.
Okay, pay attention to it and let me know what you think. Yeah.
So you think I was low on the McAuliffe Red?
I knew he jumped on for a reason.
I was like, what?
I knew he jumped on for a reason. Yeah, I think you're a little low. Not much. Just a tenth of a point or two. Yeah.
These things happen.
We're not all going to agree. Yeah, we're not all going to agree. But you didn't. I guess my question to you, Jeff, is which do you like better out of that McAuliffe color series, the black, the blue, or the red?
Honestly, that's situational. It's because the blue is more of a milder stick. The black is the bold. And the red is just basically, as it was explained to me from Amanda, that they use, I think, half a leaf of Ligero just to give it some strength. And so not to make it as strong as the black, but kind of have like that mid-range in between. Okay. So, I mean, the red, I think, the red kind of is more along, I guess, becoming one of my favorites because it's more of an everyday stick, where the black is kind of sometimes just too strong.
Okay, it's all subjective, and I that's a valid. Those are valid feelings, valid points. for me personally, I like the black. I think I like.
I love the black. It's just for me as though it's like when I look at it from an everyday standpoint.
I don't think the black is full.
It's fuller than anything else they have.
I think the red might be more full.
See, I feel like I'm at a disadvantage because I haven't had the red yet.
I think the red's more full than the black. And I know I'm going to get shit from Dan and Amanda about that. Probably Jeff too, but
no, I mean you have to smoke them side by side to get the true effect.
Yeah, I think it's a little.
I think we should have a smoke off. You know, I think we should all get these cigars and sit there and smoke them, and we'll be the judge of it.
Yeah, I'm all right with that
for sure.
I'm all right with that. Yeah, but yeah, I thought it was a little low. Do you like the red or the blue better? Because that's the blue's probably fresher in your mind than the black.
Between the red and the blue, I like the red better than the blue.
Yeah, I think I do too. I love the blue. I love the blue. I thought it's a great Sumatra. But if we, and I said this, I think I said this on the Clear the Air we recorded last night for Monday for where we talked about Dan Thompson behind his back, is that I think that the blue is just a little subdued for me when it comes to this. I'm a sucker for a good Sumatra, but it's just a little subdued. It's that Mexican Sumatra. Never had it before. I think it's not nearly as Sumatra-esque as some of the other Sumatras out there, but it does have that flavor profile, and I really do dig it. But yeah, I think I like the red one though.
I think what Macau is trying to do is they're just trying to go after not so much new things in the industry, but new things to them, and trying to branch out and see what they can do.
Well, they've been around for what now? 6, 7 years? 5, 6, 7 years?
Yeah, I think like 7 years.
Yeah. So they're still relatively new in the game, I think. And we talked about this a lot last night recording it, and you guys will hear it on Monday when it comes out. I think it's Monday.
Yeah, Tuesday is
Tuesday, the 8th. Whatever day the 8th is that they're not afraid of making mistakes, and they're not afraid of changing course, and they're not afraid of transparency and letting their consumers and their customers in the B&Ms know exactly what it is they're doing and how they're doing it. And like maybe, hey, this isn't working. We're going to move it over here. We're going to do this. We're discontinuing the bold line, for example, because it wasn't moving. And then now they've got the color series, and that seems to be taking off and doing really well for them. And so I'm very happy for them because they've got some really great cigars, the Leyenda, the Migdalia. And I really love the color series. So,
is that what they said? That the bold line wasn't moving?
I don't know. I figured that's what it was. Why else would they discontinue? Why would you discontinue something if it was moving?
Because they had no control over the product.
Was that the thing?
STG was making the bold line.
Oh, really? I was not aware of this.
How were you not aware of this? I mean, I didn't know either. I thought James knew everything.
Why would you?
Even I knew that, and I'm not even in the industry.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You can all fucking fuck off. Yeah, I had no idea that STG was making the bold line, but that makes sense why it was not one of my favorites. Not that I'm certainly not.
I wasn't a huge fan of. I had like maybe 2 of them that I enjoyed, but
the Sumatra was okay. But I mean, the blue is better than that bold Sumatra line.
I think the black is what really got me to be like, oh yeah, shit, these guys got something.
The Leyenda is what did it for me.
Okay,
the Leyenda grabbed me. I'm like, this is a great cigar.
Which one?
The one in the coffin.
Okay, the one that discontinued. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, well, look, and I like the Toro, the Toro and the Robusto that they came out with, where it's not it's in a box, and it's not a. Why am I having a hard time with words like a Perfecto, Vitola?
Basically, it's not in a coffin, individual coffin. It's in a regular box.
Yeah,
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, and I'm good with that. But they changed the Vitola too. It's a Toro, not just it's not a Perfecto. with the elongated head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the Leanda. I think the Leanda is great. The Reserve is good. I mean, $40 cigars, diminishing returns.
I got my feelings on that.
Yeah, I do too. Look, is it? Let's talk about that. Like where? I had this conversation with.
Talk about that.
I had this conversation with a friend of mine just this week. So when you look at cigar pricing, because McAuliffe does really well at this $7-8 price point with their Toros and the Robustos. When you look at the industry, which is probably the average now is 12, it's not 10, it's 12, and it's moving up, 15 to 20. For me, anything after $25 for a cigar, there is diminishing returns on how good it is. With one exception, maybe two. Like, do you find that that's the case for you, Jeff? We'll start with you.
Well, of course, so with me. Me?
Yeah.
I start lower than you do. You're at 25. Yeah. I'm at like the $15 to $18 range when I start to kind of expect it. Even though now, really, that kind of has shifted up to about 20, like 18 to 20, I should say. But still, even in that range, so let's say like we'll just take like the 15 to 20 range. At that point is when I really start watching everything with a cigar. And as you know, the way I am, I'm more of a value-orientated reviewer when it comes to things because I do factor in price points sometimes. So that's kind of where it's like, it becomes pivotal. Like usually, like if you get like a $12 cigar and it's, the burns a little off, it's like, it's really not that bad. You start getting like a $20 cigar and the burn starts going off and you're going, okay, what am I doing wrong or what's wrong with the situation that I'm in?
Yeah. What did I do to fuck up the light? Like I do that. Yeah. But you know what? And we can talk about this a little bit later, maybe is I have found that a lot of the cigars lately have had, and it doesn't matter which brand, they've had construction issues, underfilled, lots of different things going on. And it seems to be across the board and not just with one brand. Although I will say that I have yet to run into a McAuliffe red, blue, or black that has done that. Stickles, let me ask you, do you find that there's diminishing returns after a certain price point on a cigar?
I'm pretty much in agreement at the $20 price. Like at $20, like I expect everything to be going well. And if it's over that, not, then that definitely influences my choice for the next purchase.
Is it just for you? Is it just construction, or is it also flavor and just like personal enjoyment of the cigar?
I'm kind of a flavor snob. Like I definitely have a profile that I target. So if it's out of that targeted range, that definitely affects my decision too, because it's something like, yeah, other people may enjoy it and it may be what they're wanting, but it may not be what I'm wanting out of a cigar.
All right, Tim. I mean, look, you don't even smoke $20 cigars. You're like,
I wouldn't say that. Now, I agree with everything that Jeff said. Like when he was saying, you get to that $15 to $18 mark, I'm like, yeah, you saying exactly what I want better than I can ever say it. But last time we were up north at Livermore, I think I had a $40 or $46 cigar. It was okay. It wasn't the best.
Was it worth the $46?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely. I don't even remember what it was, to be honest. I think it was one of the I don't even remember what it was. But it was
El Septimo. Yeah, it might have been El Septimo.
I think it was one of the year of the Tigers or Dragons or
year of the Dragon Placencia.
Yeah, that might have been it. It wasn't bad by any means, but did it knock my socks off for $40? Absolutely not. So yeah, I mean the when you're sitting there at the $15 range, you're like, yeah, whatever. It's a cigar. I'll enjoy it or I'll toss it away or whatever. You start getting up there into that price, the higher price point, you're like, this really isn't necessarily worth spending $50.
Yeah. So I kind of find that as well. $25 mark is where I will sit. There's a lot of great cigars at 25. when you start hitting that 40, 50, 60, $100 range, I have only found one cigar that I think is worth $100, and I've only found maybe 2 or 3 that are worth the $40, $50, $60 price range. I think Padron is always good. It's one note. I mean, it's one note. Padron is. Does anybody disagree with me? Do you disagree that's one note?
So at least a note and a half.
Maybe a note and a half. Okay.
And that's not in every cigar. That's just in a select few. You get that extra half note.
That extra half note. Yeah.
If it's next to or even in the same humidor as your infused cigars, that's where the half note comes from.
In their defense, though, they're always consistent. Like, you will never pick up
100%.
one.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Have a wild range in either like experience, construction, or flavor. Like, they are.
I agree.
When I'm starting new smokers, and I'm like, hey, like, if you want something that you will consistently be able to get everywhere, that you'll be able to enjoy, and it will be the same thing everywhere, start with a Padron.
Start with a Padron, 100%.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah, I do too. Padron Castagli has a couple in that range that I really enjoy. The Spilato, the Cypher series, I really enjoy the Cypher series. The Ferrator, I think, is a little on the pricey side.
Yeah.
The Signature from,
but I still think it's under $20, isn't it?
Is it? I don't. I honestly
have to look.
I'd have to look. The Signature from Foundation at $33, $36, whatever it was, definitely worth the price. And then the only $100 cigar that I've smoked personally that I have been like, this is worth the money, it's that good, is the Mirafell. A Mirafell Sir Robert, I think is the name of it. Like, is it anybody? Oh, look, it's our friend Dan Thompson.
So that's why I gotta watch what I say.
You do now. He's watching you. He's like, yeah. He's making sure that you know. He's like, it's good to see you, Jay. Watch what you say. Yeah, it was a fun conversation with Dan. If you haven't watched that episode, you can go check it out here on YouTube or Rumble, or you can listen to it on any podcatcher that you've got. And then our Clear of the Air we recorded last night goes out on Tuesday the 8th, where we talk about Dan behind his back, which is always fun. I love it.
We do.
Yeah, we do a little bit. We do. Apparently, Dan, just so you know, I came in second place in the Dan Thompson hair lookalike contest. After Dark with J Rig and Company. Yeah, well, I mean, it is tonight with Mr. Rigged. I'm glad Mr. Dillingham decided to jump on and join us. It's always a good time here. But we're talking about prices of cigars, diminishing returns. And I'm not trying to call anybody out by name, even though I'm going to use someone's name here. But the Unicorn from Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust, Steve Saka and Company. It's a good cigar. It's a very good cigar. It's also one note, and it's not worth the $100 price point. If I'm going to smoke something that's one note, I'm going to smoke a Padron.
So, I think you're missing a major key point here.
Okay, what is it?
And so you're talking about the price of the cigar and diminishing returns. But what you're not factoring in is the fanfare of some of these companies. So, like, if you go to like different social media groups, you'll have, and you'll get to see how people, like, you'll have like the Drew Estate group, you'll have the Placencia group, you'll have every other group.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, you see like the fanfare that's generated. Now, there are certain cigars that I just don't get. Like, you'll get the Tatuaje group, you get the Roma Craft group, you get all these different groups. And if you ever say anything wrong on these pages that you didn't like something,
I know.
Oh man,
it's crazy, right? Like you just get blacklisted, blackballed.
You also got to factor in that with what you're saying with the cigar price and diminishing return, because you have a lot of people that, like when they hear the Unicorn from Dunbarton, that's all they're thinking about. They don't.
Yeah, but it's not just the uniform. Look, but it's not.
No. We'll just use that as an example. But there's other cigars out there.
The Royal Release from Davidoff, and I love Davidoff cigars. I really do. They have a very special place in my heart. And when I smoked the Royal Release Salomon, I was disappointed. I was like, I guess for $100, I don't know what I was expecting, but I was expecting something more than what I got. You know, and so maybe that's the thing with this Mirafel Sir Robert that I smoked. I'm like, oh, it's $100 cigar. It's going to be whatever. And I smoked it and I went, oh, like it exceeded my very low now expectations of $100 cigar.
Have you had enough $100 cigars that your expectations are now that low? Then you run into the Marathel and it's like, oh my God, this
apparently
is everything I wanted and more.
Apparently I'm just a bougie bastard. I don't know. Dan says
you have.
It is tasty. I'm not saying it's not a good cigar. The original Royal release Robusto was very good, and
Dan is a huge Davidoff fan.
I know he is. And we asked him on the last episode because the first time he was on, he had said that his favorite cigar of all time was a Davidoff. In fact, I think he was smoking a Davidoff on that. I don't remember which one, so I don't want to speak out of turn. Yeah, it was. He says it was. Davidoff was his favorite, I think, and he says on the show. He says on the show that, now McAuliffe has been making cigars that he feels are in line with what some of his favorite Davidoffs were. I would agree. Look, let me just take my favorite Davidoff of all time. The Real 7 Especiales. I love that cigar. It's my favorite Davidoff of all time. If I could get boxes and boxes of those, I would. They just don't make them very often. And
sorry.
I don't know if I would. Dan said Davidoff is still some of his favorite. Grand Cru 2 Lover from another time. Yeah, that was his favorite. So
I'm just saying that in Dan's defense, you can't expect a guy that's the president of McAuliffe Cigars to be like, well, they're okay. But Davidoff's really my favorite.
Yeah, McAuliffe's all right.
I mean, they're paying me, but it's all right.
It's okay. Yeah, no, but I asked him because the first time that he was on the show, he was smoking the Davidoff. If I remember correctly, I'm almost sure he was because I asked him about it.
I think he said in the comments that he was.
Yeah, but he now and McAuliffe does have things that are in line. I would rather smoke a blue, a black, or a red from McAuliffe at a $7 or $8 price point than smoking that Real 7 Especiales from Davidoff at a $30, $40 price point per cigar. And for me, I think for everybody else, it comes down to that diminishing returns. Once you hit that $20, $25 mark on a cigar, like it better be really, really good and exceed your expectations, or you're going to be like, I'm never buying that cigar again. I see Dillingham's facial expressions, and I'm just like, okay.
Because as you're saying things, I'm thinking about what you're saying, and I'm kind of processing it. And I'm also thinking about, like, so you go into a lounge, and there's a $30 cigar. Now, is the person, the tobacconist working the lounge, actually stopping to assist you and explain everything about that cigar?
Oh, look, we're going
to with that. Whereas you just buy a cigar for $30 and go, I hope it's good. Versus somebody actually telling you about it, because usually it's the sales pitch that gets people going with that.
Just so everyone is aware at home, Dillingham is not privy to the production meetings that Tim and I have. And so he had no idea that we were going to do this, but the second hour, we're talking about lounges and lounge etiquette and kind of what to expect when you walk into a lounge and what not to expect. But that's a great point. Like, how many times do you walk into a lounge, Jeff, and you're like, oh yeah, like this guy wants to help me and he knows what he's talking about. Is that the norm or is that the exception?
I would say it's probably the exception. I would say it's about 25% of the time, maybe 40% of the time.
I would say 40% is fucking high. Like, but you live out there.
You know what? I was being generous. I'm just saying,
Well, don't be generous. Be truthful. I think it's closer to
I mean, you're saying I'm rating cigars low, so now I gotta start being more generous. This way, the next time you can be like, dude, that's way too high.
I felt like that. I just telling you, I felt like your score for the red was a little low. And I'm glad that I said that before Dan jumped on. Otherwise, people would be like, oh, you just say that because Dan's on. I think it was a little low. I would have preferred a 9.25 or a 9.3. 915 is a great score. It's a great cigar, and it is a great
everything
score.
we want, James. We just can't have everything we want.
No, we can't. We can't. Although I could have edited it, I did not. I kept that. I kept that score because I think it's a fair score. I just, and it was a very well written review, Jeff. For me, I think it's my favorite cigar. I said this last night on the Clear the Air, which you guys will hear on Tuesday, but
You're going to give by the end of this hour,
the red was your favorite?
Yeah. Out of the color series, yeah, that's my favorite.
Didn't like a month ago when you said you tried a sample, you said, it's all right. It's not really that good.
That's not what I said.
I
said it was good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I said it was good. In fact, I could pull up the text that I sent Dan when I tried it. Because I was able to I just appreciate Rick not scoring it like his quote for Ask McCallum. You are such a troll. Why are you a troll? The McAuliffe team is nothing but nice to you. Nothing but nice to you. And you troll them every opportunity you get. Yeah, you. Who do you think I'm talking to?
Because that's like my job in their social media group.
Well,
I mean, whatever. I didn't want the job, but I got the job. Like, oh yeah. Yeah, that was a funny comment that day.
I had sent him. I said the red is chef's kiss. It's really, really good, is what I said when I texted Dan. And I would do this, but Dan had sent a picture immediately after of him smoking the red. And when I got the box of the red, I didn't smoke any until I had the interview with Dan. Wait, what did he say there? Riggs is just
that's
stirring the pot, makes for good conversation. Yeah, okay. He's a special. He's special.
Really?
Special is
small pots, huh?
This is why I love Dan, because you are a special.
We've been going back and forth for years. It's been great.
I smoked the first red out of the box that you could see right there when Dan was on, and we talked to Dan a few weeks ago, less than a month ago. We talked to Dan, and then that episode came out on the 1st of October, 3 days ago. Which if you're watching on Instagram, you can see some of the reels that I put up from that episode. The really great conversation with Dan. And since then, I now have half a box left. It is literally an everyday cigar for me.
I need to get a couple of those from you.
Sure. When am I going to see you again? Maybe
Shit,
next
I don't
weekend?
know. Maybe.
Well, maybe.
Well, I would. You know what?
Maybe I'll have some left. Maybe
I was
I'll
hoping to get my hands on some blue yesterday, but all I could get was black. So, which I do love the black, so that was not an issue.
Did you ask the guys over there at ICC if they were carrying the red and the blue?
Well, I just asked if they had, because I saw what they had on the shelf, and then I'm like, hey, do you have any back stock, anything that's not on the shelf? And they said no. So I was like, all right, well, I'll grab some black then, because that's the one I know I like, but I did kind of want to like get a little assortment if possible.
Yeah, make sure Tim gets some. Don't want him to buy. You think? Wait.
Wait. Okay. First off, Dan, I want to say thank you for using colors, because I can pronounce those. You know, you didn't go off like trying to name it after fancy rivers or anything like that. I appreciate that. So colors, I love.
Colors are easy,
and I don't know how to. Yeah, and I don't know how to pipe bomb. So
yeah, I think you're fine. Yeah. Do you really think Tim would pipe bomb you? I don't think Tim would.
Wow.
How did you scare him? I don't know why Dan is scared of you, Tim. You've made the threats, and I respect.
I don't think so, but all right.
Well, so we talked about this again on the episode that you guys will see on Tuesday, but at the trade show.
I'm so sorry.
We're all standing there, and I don't mind telling this story because it'll be out on Tuesday.
Yeah,
but we're all standing at the McAuliffe booth, and I text him, I'm like, hey, we're all at McAuliffe, like all of us. And so Tim was off doing his own thing. He comes over and we're getting ready to record the segment with Dan. So we're getting ready to light a blue. And so Tim walks up and Dan, hey, good to see you, Tim. Like, do you want a cigar? Would you like a cigar? And Tim goes, you offered, yeah, I'd love a cigar. Like, yes, thank you. Because we don't ask. But they offered. And so he's like, yeah, I would love a cigar. So Dan's like, because I don't think he was expecting Tim to be like, oh yeah, I want one right now. And Dan's like,
no, I didn't mean like right now. It's just like, oh, I'll take a cigar. And
he's like,
he's like,
do you want mine? And he hadn't lit it yet. He hadn't put it in his mouth. I think he cut it, but he had
this close.
And he was like, do you want this one? And Tim's like, yeah, I'll take that one. And I'm like, what are you doing? We're getting ready to fucking hit the record button. And you're
I felt like
his
such
cigar.
Afterwards, James is like, what the hell did you do? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He
like
tells
Dan
me, I'm
looks at
oh
it, looks at Tim, and like hands it to him, goes, I'll be right back. I'm gonna get and I'm like looking at Tim, like, you fuck, what are you doing?
I wasn't thinking. I'm so sorry.
Oh my God.
Damn.
So I'm telling you, Dan is scared of Tim, and I don't know why. Like, he gave him his cigar and the whole 9 yards.
I did not.
I have so much respect for Tim right now. That was
It was a Dillingham move, is what that was. That was a Dillingham move. I don't know, but Dan,
you should have had him light it for you too.
Yeah, why don't you
I think I did use his lighter, so it was close.
Well, and then Randy's trying to steal Dan's cutter because he's got that the ivory Zycar or the Mastodon or the whatever. Like, yeah, and fucking Randy's like, this is a really nice cutter. And he like starts to pocket it. Dan's like, no. Give that back. I'm like, why is everybody? Yeah, you should have just smoked it for him, Dan. That's exactly what you should have done. You should have cut off one of Randy's fingers too for even suggesting that he was going to steal your. I don't. The guys at McAuliffe and the gals at McAuliffe, Amanda and Al and Dan and Lauren, and all of the reps, they're just fantastic people. They're just so great. They put up with Dillingham shit, which is a lot. And then they put up with Tim and they put up with Randy, and they're very gracious with their time and coming on the show and talking with us. We really appreciate it. And they really do make some of the best cigars out there on the market right now, as our friend Brian Bolin from Smoldering Cigar joins. Brian, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you.
What are you smoking, buddy?
I am smoking a Sophos. Sorry. From
the
LA.
Sophos from LA. Yeah. Let me ask you this about that.
Okay.
Because we're talking about cigars, diminishing returns, price point. At what price point do you feel like you see some diminishing returns on cigars?
Okay, so 25 is where I think most of my customers up in this area will kick out unless it's a LE, right? Like Placentia comes out with the Year of the Dragon, that's like 45, maybe $50 when they do that stuff. And I'll get customers that buy that, but on a regular cigar, like even my Perdones that are in the 30s, if I have a Perdone sitting next to it that's 25, they'll pop that one first before they pop that. I think 25 is usually the best for the average smoker. I do have some advanced smokers that come in and they'll buy those 30s all the time. But when they're doing that, they're buying, like the Placentias, the Salomon, the 1926 40-year edition. They're buying those type of $30 cigars because they think they're getting the value for their buck. I feel $20 and under. I think 15 is like the supreme number where retailers should really hit, because I think most cigars can hit that value for that price point where customers are feeling like they're smoking that cigar for that price. I mean, we all know that the day of the $10 cigars is over, except for McAuliffe, but they're doing something totally different. But I mean, the rest of the world, the average in a cigar store, when I'm trying to produce, like LH, most of his are $13, I'll sell those. And Lou and, and Drew Estates, some Grucas, some of those when they're getting into that price point, Martinez, they're all staying within that $13 to $15 range. Those are going to move more because when you get into that $20 range, you're already starting to get the, have I smoked that before? Is that worth that price? What are we doing here? What makes it $20? Because I don't think people have gotten over the fact that the price hike has happened, that every time I buy new cigars for the store, there's always just that little bit increase. So when I add my tax, it goes up like 25 cents and that sucks. But, I understand what they're doing, but I don't think we've hit that hump yet where people are used to, they're still in that $10 stage. I think people are still in that $10 stage. Well, I used to really get a really good stick for 10, 12 bucks. And, now that's actually 15 to 20. And we haven't moved to that yet. So 25 really stops them at the, then it becomes volume over value, when we get into that. And sometimes that works for some customers. And I try to tell them, hey, sometimes value is more important, but it depends on what you're doing with your cigar. I mean, if you're smoking your cigar during the day while you're mowing your yard or you're doing other things and you're not sitting in the lounge.
When you said, what are you doing with your cigar? I'm like, are there other things you can do with it than smoke it?
Yes.
Well,
and the comments are about to roll in.
Yeah, that's probably a whole nother episode on a whole nother YouTube channel that we're probably not access to. But
Dillingham's like, there are. They can do a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Look, Bill Clinton. That's what I'm going to drop it right there.
Yeah.
But
there's our first Bill Clinton reference.
That's what I see. And so when customers like LH and Lou and some of the other guys that stay consistent with their prices, I see the sales stay more consistent with them because they've already tried it because it was in their realm. Because people come into my store with what they're going to spend. Like I just had a customer that left. They bought 2 boxes, and they were Percentia, but they already knew that they're dropping $250, right? I mean, they know that that's what they're dropping to get that. But I had another customer that was in here and he had $40. And, what can I get that's good for $40? And I can get, I can get them 2 really good cigars, and that's kind of what they're looking for. So we're in a weird time right now because prices of cigars have gone up and the retailers haven't been able to accommodate the customer base is coming in with the amount of raises that have come from the prices of cigars. So we're in a lull right now. So customers are getting that shock, right? Because 6 months ago, I paid $12 for it. And now I'm paying $14. And they don't understand that all the things that go in behind what makes a cigar, all the 300 people that made your cigar and how those prices went up and the shipping and taxes and all the things that go behind it, they don't understand that yet. And they will, but we just haven't reached that plateau. And so, maybe come further down the line, 25 will be normal, but right now it's not. 12 to 17 is I think is the normal. I mean, every guy's going to come in and go, yep, I'm going to get a good value for 12, or I'm going to get a good value for under 20, and especially with something they know. It's going to be harder for them to try new cigars. So any new company that comes out and it's got, hey man, I got a $50 cigar. Well, good for you. It's going to be a hard sell if they don't know you, right? I mean, that's what I'm seeing, but that's just retail side of it. And that's what I'm noticing with my customers. I have to kind of explain, like 3 weeks ago when I bought that cigar, it was $1 less. Well, I had to reorder new ones, and this is what they came in for. And that's what's going on. And so that phase hasn't hit. We saw that phase when I first opened the store in 21. We had that big boom and cigars were a little cheaper. And then we saw that phase start to come into fact because cigars started getting scarce because there was more cigars going out than there was rollers. And so the prices kind of jumped. And then last year we started seeing everybody making $100 cigars. And I don't think everybody's, really gotten into that yet, on the consumer side of it that I've seen. But I'm in a different market. I'm in farmers and chemical guys, and I get it. I'm not in a big city, so maybe that might be a little different, but that's just what I'm seeing. So yeah, I don't know. 15.
What do you think?
Do you
think that's a bigger shock though for being out, kind of out in the middle of, or not being in the big city? Let's just say, does that culture shock hit the customer a little bit harder when they walk in expecting to pay $10 and then find out that, whoa, okay, now everything's $15 to $18 to $20?
Yes and no. I think it is a culture shock for new cigar smokers that want to try a new cigar that they haven't tried. But when you get like I have a big following with Placentia, and a lot of those guys are, yep, it was $1 less 2 months ago, and now it's $1 more, and they know I'm not trying to, they know the store, so they know I'm trying to be competitive. And so I think those guys that are buying those type of cigars are kind of, grumbling just maybe a little bit, but yeah, they know the cigar is worth it, and so they're going to get it. It's the new people that we're trying to involve ourselves in the community, because I do get a lot of new smokers, and they're jumping right at those, $5 to $10 cigars, which back in the day was a good deal, but now they're maybe not as good of a cigar, or at least in my humidor, as it could be somewhere else. And when you try to introduce them into, hey, let's jump up to maybe a $13 to $15 cigar, they're a little more. So yeah, I think that group of people, it is a huge shock for them, because they see it on the internet, they see the cigar prices there, and when the great deals they get, when you go into a brick and mortar, and then it's totally different. And so I think that is a culture shock on that part of it. Yes.
This guy answered my question before I even asked it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Brian's good at that.
No. So it's perfect, because I was gonna say two things, like when you were saying about explaining to a new customer about what goes into making the cigar, where ignorance is bliss. A lot of these people think that they just they think it's like they think milk just comes off the shelf in a grocery store. They think cigars just like magically appear, like there's just some machine just spitting them out. They don't realize what goes into it. But the question I was going to ask you was, being that you are running a lounge, do you run into that a lot, where people go, well, I saw it on the internet for this price. How come you're charging this price? And they don't understand the concept of you're sitting in a lounge. Like it's the atmosphere, it's everything else that goes into it.
That's a very good point. That is a point that I try to explain to people, because I get people to come in, they'll take pictures of my cigar, and they'll go, hey, if I get on Factory Smoke, let's just say that, or I don't even know if that's an internet one, but something like that, they'll say, I can get this for $3 cheaper. And I'm like, yep, but you don't get the experience, and you don't get to sit in my lounge, you don't get to buy alcohol, you don't get to sit and talk to me, which I think is, worth some money. And, and so you don't.
That's half the experience.
Yeah, right. you don't get to sit and relax. You don't get people waiting on you. You don't. I always have tabs for people, so they can go one at a time. They don't have to buy everything all at once, and so it saves your credit charge, and that is a hard thing to sell to people. The experience. You're paying for the experience. I try to be because my only competitor up here is the internet. And so I try to be very mindful of my prices, and I check the internet, and I know I can't compete with all of them, but I try to compete with some of them, some of the more reputable ones that were brick and mortar before they became big internet sellers. And they try to stay true to this. But you have to sell that. You get a lounge experience, you get this, you get TVs, you get to sit in nice chairs, you get snacks and drinks, and that's just part of it. That's a hard sell sometimes for new people in the industry, and sometimes even for older people that have been in the industry, because I can go home and do it. And unfortunately, the world we live in, people are used to just things coming to the front door, and they don't have to go get it. And so that's another thing that I have to fight with. And so, yeah, I get that actually, unfortunately, way more than I don't ever say anything to people because I get it. We're all fighting. We enjoy this hobby. It's an expensive hobby. We love it. I don't ever want to diminish that hobby, but man, do I hate hearing that going, I can get this on the internet for like $1 cheaper. And sometimes that's all it is. Sometimes it's 50 cents and they'll I can get this for $12.50 instead of 13. Okay, but in Iowa it's 50 cents tax. So I don't know what you want me to do.
I mean,
So
especially
I don't
now,
say nothing. Yeah, I don't.
especially
say
now,
nothing,
like
but,
being,
that is a-
football season, and it's like people coming into the lounge. It's like you're going to sit down for like, depending on how many games you're watching, it could be like 3 to 6 hours,
Mhm.
and in that time you're smoking, maybe 3 to 4 cigars, and then you basically got to break it down to them. The amount that you spent on cigars and the amount of time you spent here, it's all about the experience. You're not going to sit at home in your living room puffing away at a cigar, but most people will not get away with that shit.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we're talking about, if you're just joining us, we're talking about lounges, we're talking about prices of cigars, but it is the top of the second hour. So I want to make sure that everybody understands that we're talking about what we're talking about: online retailers and getting things for just a little bit cheaper than what you do in the lounges. I want to invite you to go to smallbatchcigar.com. They are our exclusive online retail partner. And you can get a free sampler box of Blackbird cigars right there when you buy a box, any box of Blackbird cigars. You can save 10% if you use coupon code Stogies. But if you're a brand new customer, you can use coupon code THX and save 10%. You can get the exact same 5% bonus reward points, always free shipping. Great stuff going on here at smallbatchcigar.com. Sampler packs, you can save 20%. They have a clearance section. They've got a bunch of stuff there. Smallbatchcigar.com. Enthusiasts know, aficionados know, and now you know. Smallbatchcigar.com. Use coupon code Stogies, 10% off, and always free shipping. I also want to let you know that this episode is brought to you by Lure Cigars. Now, look, at the top of the show, we talked about the brand new brownie trout that's going to be coming out from Lou and company there, Lure Cigars. This is a San Andreas wrapper over Nicaraguan filler and binders. It is chocolatey. It is earthy notes, rich, creamy, sweet notes of chocolate and caramel, nuts. You want to check this out. If your local B&M does not carry Lure Cigars, you need to ask for it by name. Smoke great cigars, tell tall tales, Lure Cigars, brand new brownie trout. Check that coming out. And what are you smoking there, Tim, for this second hour? You are muted, my friend. Good job.
First time ever doing this. Starting at the top of the second hour there. Mean Gene by Lure Cigars. This thing is amazing. If you have not had it, go find it, go get it, and smoke it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You can't clip my cigar. Brought to you by Blackbird Cigars. Can't clip my wings. We just talked about Blackbird Cigars and the you can get the sampler pack free on smallbatchcigar.com with try the Superb. It's the newest addition to their core line. Great cigar. I love it. I don't know if you can see it. I can't see it. The big right there. I absolutely love that cigar, the Superb. I want to thank Jonas and Company for being supporting us and being a sponsor for us. Can't clip my wings, but you can clip my cigar. Brought to you by
Is your mic going in and out?
Is my mic in and out?
Yeah, you're coming back
Is
in
it
now.
just me?
Oh, look who joined.
Oh, now we're in trouble.
All right, everybody be quiet now.
All right, before we go too crazy, I just want to get into that whole little spiel about the internet and everything and the perfect timing of that, by the way. And I'm surprised the only thing you were missing was just having like pictures of his shelf and his humidor of the prices while you were scrolling up and down.
Yeah, do a side-by-side comparison. Look, we all know that online is a little bit less expensive than B&M's. And there's a
Like a
reason
Walmart.
for that for sure. They can buy in mass, in bulk, and you can get better pricing. But here's the thing: I don't think it matters who you talk to. And here's a small batch cigar has Maximar. They have a B&M that's attached to them. So it's not like you're not supporting a B&M when you buy from small batch cigar.
I'm not attacking them.
No. I get that, but this whole second hour, we're going to talk about lounges. We're going to talk about lounge etiquette. We're going to talk about the do's and don'ts, the shoulds and shouldn'ts of being in a lounge, and what you should look for, what you shouldn't look for, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, that kind of stuff. So let's get into that. Yeah, the pricing is a little bit cheaper online, but when you support your brick and mortar, you're supporting small business. And that's what Small Batch does. They support small business. They're supporting us. They're supporting small manufacturers. And that's why we're really proud to have them as an advertiser here at Simply Stogies podcast. So let's talk about when you walk into a lounge, and we've got two lounge owners right here, Shauna Bolin and Brian Bolin from Smoldering Cigar in Livermore, Iowa. Great lounge. Some of the best people ever in the industry. I love these two. Like they were my brother and sister.
We are the best.
You guys are awesome. You're some of the best people on the planet. I lumped you in with some of the best people.
Yeah.
It's not like I lumped you in with P. Diddy.
Wow. You really went there?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Probably a little early.
Why?
I said they were.
Where did all the baby oil come from?
We're not. Yeah, it's not like you walk in there, they got 1,000 bottles of baby oil just in there.
Yeah.
Although it'd be cool if they did, I guess.
Well, we were talking about an experience, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're looking for an experience in a
That
lounge.
would be an interesting one. Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, I think we should start with lounge etiquette. Let's start with lounge etiquette.
All right, let's start with lounge etiquette. Well, you seem like you have a lot to say on the subject there, Brian. Like, what as a lounge owner, when you think of lounge etiquette, what comes to mind?
Well, when I think of lounge etiquette, I think of the fact that when you are buying a cigar to sit in the lounge, you should be mindful of the fact that, we don't put trash in the ashtrays. There should be garbage cans, or even just leave them on the table. The owner or the person that's working there should be running around consistently to pick that up, but let's not put it in the ashtray. That kind of stuff is good. Making sure that, when you do bring stuff in, that we're not plugging up the walkways, those are good things to think.
So, like, if you're coming in with like a bag, if you're coming in with a bag or a briefcase, like, just don't set it in the aisle.
Yeah, you're right. Yep. Be mindful for where you sit if you're going to have stuff. Most lounges should have areas for people that work, they're like bringing a laptop, those are the areas you want to stick to, so that you're not bothering other people or other people are bothering you, those are good ways to do it. And then you got to be mindful, how long do you think you're going to be there and how many cigars you're buying? Because, I do believe that there is and I don't know if this is true or not, so please don't quote me, but I do think that there is, for how long you're going to be there, how many cigars you need to buy in order to sit in that lounge to accommodate the space that you're taking, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Those are some good things. Like, Tim, like, when you think of lounge etiquette, what are you usually thinking?
Well, I will typically think of, as a patron myself, and going into a lounge where there's other people. I guess if you're like the only customer in the store, then fine, be you. But when there's other customers around, they might not be fond of certain talk or an elevated level of loudness. Some people are there to relax and enjoy a cigar. They're not there to have a party. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I see when I go into a lounge, is just the lack of respect for other people's space and time.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. Shauna, you're a lounge owner. What comes to mind when you hear the words lounge etiquette?
Well, first I have to say that if you're looking for a quiet environment, then don't ever come to my store when I am there. It's just a bad idea.
Hashtag truth.
I think of lounge etiquette as, I don't know. I agree with Tim a lot on the don't know who's around you, know what you're
Read
saying.
the room.
Do
Yeah.
your best not to offend people. But you're right about the partying and the other aspects of it. That people don't necessarily like loud environments all of the time. And so I have a different opinion on lounge etiquette. I think that if there's a trash can that's sitting next to but I'm a girl. If there's a trash can that's sitting next to you, put your freaking wrapper in the damn trash can. Don't set it on the table. I have 58 trash cans in that room. You don't have to move. Stick it in the trash can.
I don't want to talk to Sean anymore.
Shut up.
I thought
I
he was talking
like
about
mom.
the laptops. He was talking about me.
Yeah. I think you guys brought up a great point. I mean, you definitely need to read the room. I think it's also, as the lounge owners or people that run the lounges, they should make sure that people are engaging and helping with reading the room. Because, for guys, first of all, it's a hard time for guys. And I'm not trying to be misogynistic here or something, but I'm just speaking for men because I am a man, that it's hard for us to relax. And sometimes it's hard to communicate. And so sometimes the conversation starters need to be brought in by other people. And so, you just got to kind of read the room and see if there's something that, is going on. If you see a guy that's being real quiet, maybe that guy needs to be left alone. Or, but, that's important. I just, the most things is that, you don't ever want to bring in outside cigars. Not that you can't, but, you should make sure you know the rules. I mean, with our rules is I don't care that you bring in outside cigars as long as you're buying cigars, because my humidor isn't big enough to accommodate for every cigar out there in the world. And as long as you buy enough to sit in it, I don't care what you smoke in my lounge, as long as you bought cigars to sit in my lounge. And I think that's important, that people understand that it's okay, at least in my lounge, it's okay to come and enjoy what you like, but you still have to, you have to pay for the experience, kind of like you have to pay to play.
Yeah, you're using their facilities. You're using, you're sitting in their chairs. There's wear and tear on that. If you're using their cutters, their lighters, there's wear and tear on that. If you're going into a lounge and you're allowed to bring your own cigars, you should be buying a 5-pack.
Mm-hmm.
Minimum. You
Absolutely.
Should be buying a 5-pack.
Absolutely.
Jeff, let me bring you in, because you're out there on the East Coast and you've got a lot of lounges around you, and you go to a lot of lounges. You go to a lot of events at lounges. When I say lounge etiquette, what comes to your mind?
Let's see. The one main lounge that I really go to is probably like an hour away from me in the Bronx, and you can imagine New Yorkers. So, but the one cool thing about that is it's not really a quiet lounge. It is more of a louder lounge, but there's a lot of sports events always on, and everybody's always talking. But the one thing that they do there, which is actually pretty cool, is when you come in. Like at first I was kind of apprehensive because the first time I was there, everybody that came through the door was, saying hello, shaking hands with everybody. Mm-hmm. And that kind of became the norm. And I don't know if that's a thing across the rest of the states, but in New York, it seems to be kind of the norm thing. Like when you come into a lounge, you go through and you just say hi to everybody. And it's like one big family. But at least that's the way that lounge is set up, which I'm surprised I'm still allowed to go there because they're mostly Italian and I'm Irish. And I just, I'm just me. So I just like to have fun with them.
All right, I think that's fair, and I think if you listened to the interview that we had with Dan, that's out right now, you can catch it on Rumble, YouTube, or on any podcatcher. Dan talked a little bit about making sure being a manufacturer that helps the rest of the industry kind of facilitate bringing in new cigar smokers. And honestly, I appreciate when manufacturers talk about bringing in new cigar smokers and growing that customer base. But I think that starts at the lounge level.
Absolutely.
And if you're going to a lounge and you are not helping facilitate that, you are hindering that.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about this on the Clear the Air that'll be out on Tuesday, but bringing in a woman to a lounge can be a little bit of a dicey prospect, depending on the lounge. Depending on the lounge, if it is a sausage fest,
Why?
Men will be men, and men will make comments that they shouldn't make, and will make women feel uncomfortable. And that woman may not ever smoke another cigar again, or she may not go to a lounge again because she feels uncomfortable and she feels singled out, and she feels like all eyes are on her. She is a person; she's a human being. She has feelings, and so we need to be cognizant of that as guys and help kind of facilitate that. And I know women love coming to your lounge up there in Livermore, Smoldering Cigar. Shauna, you haven't seen anything like that in your lounge that would make women uncomfortable. Is that just because of the people, the Midwest nice kind of thing? Or is it something that you guys, really try to help facilitate there? And Dan says, always at the lounge, their host manufacturers should aim to support their. Absolutely, and that's another reason why I love McAuliffe, because they do support their B&Ms. They're great supporters of their customers. But Shauna, like, what do you guys do specifically there to help kind of facilitate making women feel comfortable when they walk in the lounge?
Well, I'm a girl. My husband's a boy. I'm a girl.
Thank God.
Yeah, it's the damnedest thing. And,
Woo.
I know.
Bold statement.
I think that the fact that there's a girl present automatically lets women, it gets their guard down just a little bit, because there's already another female in the area. And so we try to incorporate them. But I think as owners of lounges or customers as lounges, everybody wants to feel included in any conversation. So, if a girl goes in, and I can tell you myself, going into other lounges, the owners have a tendency to ignore me because I'm a girl. They don't want to talk to me. The patrons don't want to talk to me, because it's almost like you're a girl in a boys club and you shouldn't be there, like I'm intruding on them. And so just to make them feel as welcome as you would if there was a guy there.
Well, I mean, it's interesting as words are hard that you say that, Shauna, because I have walked into lounges that I have been in several times. And if the owner or the general manager is not there who knows me, no one comes to talk to me. I feel like, I'm not a regular. They don't know who I am. And especially if I've been traveling, I may not be dressed as nicely as I normally would be. Maybe it's just jeans and a t-shirt and not my normal Gaviera or Hawaiian shirt or this stupid polo. It might just be, me in a jeans and a t-shirt, and they look at me like I have, two heads, and they're like, who is this guy? Why is he here? And it feels like a good old boys club. And I hate that. As a lounge, you should be welcoming to everybody, because you're there to spend money and you're there to spend time. And we always talk, we just got done talking about for the first hour how expensive cigars are and the diminishing returns on cigars that are $25 and over. But the thing that's more valuable than that is your time. You can't buy more time. So when you choose to spend your time in a lounge, that lounge, in my humble opinion, should go out of their way to make sure that you are taken care of, that you're happy, that you are included in conversations with some of their regulars. And if you're there just to have a quiet time and just have a little self-reflection with a cigar, that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. But the owner or the GM or whoever's there, the employee should be making sure, like, hey, you all right? Like, can we help you? Try to engage you in conversation. And then at that point you can say, nope, I'm good. I appreciate it. I just want some time by myself. Enjoy a cigar and I'll get out of your hair or whatever. But I find that a lot of lounges don't do that. Tim, has that been your experience? What have you seen out there in lounge land?
Well, lounges that I would visit on my own, because most of the lounges that I think I visit, I probably would visit with you while we're traveling back and forth from one event to another. And then, of course, I kind of feel like some of the stuff you were saying was kind of BS, because when you walk into a lounge,
Thank you.
like red carpets kind of come out.
Oh,
like all
whatever.
sorts of
Oh,
weird
Jesus
like
Christ.
caterers show up. It doesn't make it. Even this one weird guy with a bunch of baby oil. I don't know. I'm just like, yeah, I guess I'm with him. May I have a cigar, please? It's very uncomfortable. But most of the time, if I do go into a lounge in my general area, I'm lucky if I get a hello. How are you? And that's it. I go in, I buy my cigars, I get the hell out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to disparage lounges by name, but yeah, there are some lounges there in your area that I just refuse to go to.
Sure.
Which is why I
why
drive the extra hour and out of my way to go to Smoldering. If I'm going to go west to smoke a cigar, like I'm going to keep going either to Smoldering in Livermore. I'm going to keep going to Safari Cigar in Omaha or Capital Cigar in Lincoln, and like that's where I'll But I typically won't stop in the largest city in Iowa. You guys can figure that out. Jeff,
Yeah.
what about you out there? Do you see a lot of lounges that are like really trying to make people feel welcome? Like there's nothing better, Jeff, when you walk into a lounge and if the lounge owner's there, the lounge owner comes over and he talks to you and he's trying to engage you in conversation and hey, where are you from? Like, haven't seen you before. And I really just want to interrupt him as he's lighting this cigar.
I'm listening to you.
Jeff, what do you see out east? Is it more of a, because I would imagine in the New York area.
Well, all right. So sorry. So to touch on what you were saying, there are some lounges that are like the Good Old Boys Club that I've went into where I say hi and they all kind of just like turn and look at you and turn around and look back. But getting like the BS comment I think Tim was pointing out was the fact that you're not going to get the tobacconist or the manager there to have them include you in the conversation. That's just out of the question. But what you're referencing about being recognized when you come through the door, that's a huge issue I see in a lot of lounges where the people, like even if the tobacconist is helping another customer, just a simple looking and acknowledging, hey, how you doing today? I'll be right with you. That goes a long way. And they don't really have to know who you are or where you're from, or they don't have to know nothing about you. It's the fact that you're there means that you're interested in buying a product. So they have to take a little bit of time to acknowledge your existence. And then once they're done with what they're doing, come over to you and see what you need. Or come to the humidor and ask you the simple questions, what are you looking for? Have you tried this? A simple upsell is what they're supposed to be doing. As for inclusion with women, believe it or not, whenever I go into a lounge with my wife, now she doesn't smoke cigars. They're more interested in her than me, which is hilarious because she'll tell them multiple times that she doesn't smoke cigars.
Well, she is the more attractive of the two of you.
Yes, that is the thing.
Ag facts.
But I've also found that a lot of lounges where a female comes into the lounge, especially the lounges I frequent, the tobacconists and usually everybody there is more of a helpful aspect. They'll say, hey, how you doing? Tobacconists help them out. And then, you'll hear the conversation, like maybe they're buying a cigar for themselves. Maybe they're buying a cigar for their boss. I was in a situation where these two girls came in and they were trying to get cigars for their boss. And the tobacconist was like, well, what does he smoke? And they had no idea. So he didn't want to steer them the wrong way. So he looked at me and he goes, well, what do you think? And I said, honestly, I'd say I'd stay medium, mild to medium, because you really can't go wrong, but don't go too high of a price point. You want to stay like that, at the time, because this is New York we're talking about, so everything's a little higher with the 75% wholesale tax. So you're dealing with like the $15 to $18 price range just off the bat, what's going to cost you at a lounge. So the main thing was, get 2 or 3 cigars and try to keep it under $50.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my pet peeves when I walk into a lounge is if I'm not greeted. I come from a retail management background where I spent 20 plus years in retail management. If I'm not greeted, that drives me nuts.
Yeah.
And then they'll follow me into the humidor. And this is not, I'm not knocking you, Brian, because you follow everybody in the humidor and you have conversations with them. It's not a slam against you. I know he's sitting there thinking, I see him and he's like, this motherfucker.
That's the difference, though, between somebody who follows you into the humidor to have a conversation and find out more about the customer and what their preferences are and figure out, like, can I actually help get this customer into a good cigar, compared to, I'm really not interested. I just want to make sure you're not going to put something in your pocket. That's the huge difference.
I was hoping that you were going to bring that up, because what we found, the Fortune 100 company that I used to work for did a study. If you don't want people to shoplift, do you know what the number one thing that you can do to make people not shoplift? Anybody?
Walk in there with them.
No, greet them when they walk into the store, because then they're like, oh shit, they see me.
Yep.
They see me. So if somebody follows me in the humidor, I hate that, because it's like, do I really look like I'm going to fucking steal? And if you're going to follow somebody into the humidor, like Brian does, you better know your shit. Like, you better be a certified retail tobacconist, or you better know your shit. I walked into a lounge in Florida. I'm not going to say the name of it, but I walked into a lounge in Florida, and I walked into the humidor, and nobody said anything to me when I walked in, and they followed me in the humidor. And I'm looking around, and this guy goes, yeah, so what do you normally smoke? And I said, well, in the morning, I smoke a Connecticut, usually is what I start with. And then I work my way up. I'll smoke medium. I smoke a little bit of everything. I'm like, so I'm just kind of looking to see what you have. This guy did nothing but try to sell me a Connecticut. That was it. And I'm like, dude, I finally told him, like, no, but I appreciate your help. I got it. And I went about my business. I picked up 5 cigars. I could have sat there and smoked one. I'm like, I am not smoking here. Like, it just was not a good experience.
Honestly, I think you missed something there. You should have asked him how long he's been involved in the cigar industry.
Maybe.
Because the guy could have been relatively new.
True.
And he was trying, but you being the snob that you are, I mean, we've all seen it.
Bougie snob.
What the fuck?
Yeah, but
why am I the bougie snob? Because I just want somebody who knows what the fuck they're talking about.
I'm happy when somebody follows me through the humidor, because at least then they're being attentive. Now,
are they being attentive for the right? But are they being attentive for the right reason?
Look, I'm not expecting every tobacconist I run into to know everything about every cigar.
No, there's too many out there to know that.
Yes,
but you know what?
But the thing is, the
you don't
question
find
you
out.
ask is, what do you have that's new? What do you have that's a limited release? And if they can answer those questions, at least they know what's in the store.
Oh yeah, I always ask that. I say, what do you got that's new? And what would you? What's smoking?
I can imagine your conversations like, so what factory was this rolled in, and what are the leaves here?
Oh,
and
Jesus Christ.
What's the third leaf in the bunch? And does it have avocado oil in it? Because I really love that.
straight fucking butter.
Brian, we can see you. Stop it.
I'm dying over here.
All right. Go for it, Brian. What do you got?
Look. The one thing that people need to realize is that retail stores, brick and mortar, lounges especially, are the cigar industry. Internet doesn't matter, none of that, but nobody is going to enjoy a cigar unless they have an experience to attach it to. And I think when you're searching for a lounge, or when you're doing this, the welcoming at the door, the following in the humidor, the cigar etiquette, none of that should absolutely positively matter to the fact that you need that experience. And you need to find a lounge that will give you that experience, because, whether it's Lure, who's starting new and wants to put cigars in it, if a lounge owner or the people that he hires are not engaged with the people in the lounge, this industry wouldn't be nowhere without lounges. It really wouldn't. If there ain't 12 guys in here talking about different cigars they're all smoking, and being able to feel comfortable with, hey, I'm smoking a $3 cigar and I'm smoking a $50 cigar, and they're able to talk to each other without that uppity try to, hey, I'm doing better than you. if you can create that atmosphere,
I feel like that was
then
directed at
the
me.
cigar industry as
Me
a
too.
whole benefits.
Because you're a fucking snob.
But I just no. I mean that's what
Not you,
have to
Brian.
understand.
We're talking to James.
Lounges start everything, right?
Yeah, no, I agree.
And so if you're new to the industry, you should come in and if you don't feel welcomed right at the beginning, I built my lounge, and this is so silly, but I built my lounge, my back private lounge has a front view to the front door. It is so that if I'm sitting back here with customers and somebody walks in, I can instantly say hi to them. Even though I'm I don't know, what am I, 25, 50 yards away? I will make sure that I say something until I can get to them, right? Because I can see them. That's how I built the lounge. So that you're always seeing who's coming in the front door, because that is important. Because I do have a lot of new people that don't know, and then you got to invite them. It's almost like you have to invite people like they're 12 years old and you want to bring them to a birthday party. People do not naturally commune to each other when they're not in the same circles, right? But cigar is a circle. And as long as you can get them in that circle, it doesn't matter where you come from or your background or your money. The cigar brings the thing into it, and that's the lounge. And that's where cigars, as manufacturers, should pay more attention to when they're putting their cigars in their lounge, is because that's where they're going to get the info that they need to on whether or not they're making a good cigar or a bad cigar, because you got new people and old people smoking that cigar. And so when you're new people and you're coming in, man, that's the first thing you should look at. People are going to make mistakes. They're going to ask you the wrong questions sometimes. But if you feel comfortable, then that's it.
Yeah.
That's all it should be about.
I don't.
But when you walk into when I walked into a lounge for the first time, I had no idea whether I was supposed to be able to sit down and smoke a cigar, because there's no sign that says, hey, you can smoke here. I don't know. There's other people sitting there, but I don't know why they're there. And so, but the problem that everyone has, except for us, and I'm sure some other stores around the country, is that
definitely us, never us.
Shut up. Customer service has gone down the drain. People don't care about the people that their numbers. And we're so small that we care about every $3 that's spent. Plus, I'm just a nice fucking person.
You are a nice.
You're also hashtag great at parties.
You are hashtag great at parties. You really are.
But you know, Walmart and Target and all of those places have created numbers, and so that's the way the rest of the world treats most people who shop anywhere nowadays. It
is, and I think lounges are different. I don't think I've walked into a lounge and been treated like it's a Walmart. There are some great lounges around the country that are huge, that treat their customers great. Like when you walk into Bull Weevil in Enterprise, Alabama, which there'll be a lounge review on that coming out very soon. They have everything. You walk in to their humidor, and it's like the heavens have opened, and you just like angels are singing, and they literally have everything. Nice. And it looks like a department store for cigars, and the difference. No, and not for me. It might be for new cigar smokers, but it wasn't for me. For me, I was like getting a candy store. I'm like, holy shit, you've got this, and you've got that, you got this. But there's another shop that I could think of off the top of my head, Outlaw Cigar in Overland Park, Kansas. Same thing, but the difference is customer service. That was the difference. Bull Weevil's customer service was far and away so much better. And it might just be because it's the South and the South, Southern hospitality, but everybody wants to talk to you. Everybody wants to bring you into the conversation. It's not just the lounge owner and the employees and because their employees were great and the lounge owner was great, but it was like their consumers, their customers. That really make it welcoming. I've walked into other lounges in the South, in Tennessee. I can't think of the name of it, but I walked in and they like everybody turned. Like, who are you and why are you here? Nobody said
So
a
then
word.
that goes back to our original question. What is the etiquette that new people should expect when they go into, or what should they do? Because, for lounge owners, you want those people to feel comfortable, right? No matter what lounge they go to.
So let me ask you this, Brian.
How do they go to
As
that?
as a lounge owner, how do you cultivate that kind of culture where you get your customers to bring new people into the conversation and make them feel like they're at home or they're on vacation? Okay, Shauna, how do you do that? How do you cultivate those customers?
Oh my goodness!
Shut up. The first thing you do, you're really nice when they walk in the door. You say hello and you greet them, and you're happy they're there. But when I get a new person that comes into the lounge, I introduce everyone that's there to the new person that's there. I mean, half my customers know who you two are because I've introduced you guys so many times, right? They're like, oh yeah, we know who you are.
Yeah, we're sitting there. Tim and I are sitting there one day, and somebody walked. I don't even know. I'm sure I met them, but I meet a lot of people, and I feel really bad when I don't remember people's names or if I met them. They walk in, they're like, "Oh, hey James, what's going on?" I'm like, "Hey Tim, what's going on?" I'm like, "Who the?" I'm looking at Tim like, "Do we know this person? Like, what the fuck?" Like, it's wild at your lounge that people know who we are. Nobody knows who we are.
So, James, you're saying you're the guy that I'm talking about when it comes to the Good Old Boys Club?
No.
Yeah.
Hey, I talk to people.
Yeah.
Think about it though. Look at it a different way. I mean, let's talk about lounges that don't do that, because not everybody's going to have a lounge that does that. And so, what do they do to make sure that they're enjoying their experience? What can they do to do that? Because
I really feel like, Brian, I feel
owners don't do that.
You're right, but like with Bull Weevil, when the customers see me or see any customer interacting with management, interacting with the employees, and having a conversation with them, I think that empowers your customers, so to speak, to feel comfortable enough to talk to that person as well, right? So I do believe it starts with the employees and the lounge owner. Dwight at Fat Ash is great at doing that. He'll talk to you, and he walks around, talks to. Yeah, they're just awesome. I think Anthony Goins and company at Capital are great at doing that. There are a lot of lounges around the country that escape me. The Cedar Room in Scottsdale. There's just a lot of different lounges out there that do that, where the owner goes around, they talk to people. The Drawing Room is a great example. Their employees will talk to you and find out, if you're a new customer, like how long you've been smoking. And it's not so much an intimate setting anymore. It used to be, but the Drawing Room has expanded. And so when the customers see that the employees are interacting with this person, they feel empowered to talk to them. So I think it does start with the lounge owner. But let's shift gears here for the last 19 minutes here, and let's talk about what you should and shouldn't do when you're in the lounge. Once you've been greeted and you've bought your cigars and you've sat down, what's the most egregious thing you've seen a customer do, Brian or Shauna, where you're like, you have to tell them, hey, maybe let's not do that again.
You could try not to steal my stand-up ashtrays, but other than that.
Wait, somebody tried to steal your stand-up.
I apologize for that. It was wrong.
We've seen that. We've seen that. People taking lighters and cutters, because we leave them on every table just in case someone doesn't bring in, because we do have a lot of new customers. So I have cutters and lighters on every table, so that just in case theirs ain't working, it's there. Let's not steal that stuff. I mean, just because I'm lounge doesn't mean I get that stuff for free. And
you don't?
No.
You don't?
I don't. Not always.
I can't believe we've started off lounge etiquette with "don't fucking steal."
Yeah.
I feel like that's like an unwritten thing. Like, don't be a fucking douchebag.
No, that's something that has to be stated.
It's so sad that it does.
How is it? Yeah. How is it, guys?
Don't smoke the infused cigars.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that. That's a good one, shot.
I mean, you want to get to lounge. I was going to say, you want to get into lounge etiquette. So I think in a lot of lounges, and obviously, I don't want to touch on what we've just discussed and everything, about people walking in and being intimidating and having everybody, kind of be friendly. But, there's going to be certain people that are going to be standoffish. But I think every lounge should have a sign that's right inside the door, so everybody looking at the door could see it, and it says, "Don't be a dick." And I think that would help.
That would.
The
Yeah.
problem is that not everybody
next
understands
one
what
idea.
the definition of being a dick is.
Yeah, I think that's a
I know,
little
but
vague.
we're working on etiquette, not attitude. I think
I am a
make
dick.
sure that,
Sorry.
don't I
I
don't know.
agree with
Some
cigar
lounges
clubs.
have carpet. Don't ash on the floor if you don't have to.
Yeah, I think
Don't-
Cigar Clowns is onto something here. Don't put your mouth on the cigar and then use the lounge cigar cutter. Like that's gross.
Yeah, that's bad.
I've seen
Oh, that
folks
is
go in and they'll pick a cigar up, especially if it's not in cellophane, and try to sniff. Like, look, if you want it, that's fine. If you're like sitting there and you really are trying to like maybe do
Which
a
is why I
review
go in the
or
humidor with people.
yeah, like don't put it up to your nose and sniff it. If you're gonna do that, like you just bought that cigar. Like, come on, give me a break, guys. Like, but maybe new cigar smokers don't buy a $6 cigar and then smoke your own cigar. Yeah, we've talked about that. Like, if you're gonna go to a lounge and they allow you to bring your own cigars in, that's fine. But buy a 5-pack minimum. Buy a 5-pack. But if you walk in with one of these big travel humidors and you just sit down and you open it up and you just start going to town, and then you ask for a coffee or a water or a soda or whatever, like, give me a break. What do you like? How
Is there a
cheap are
lounge
you?
that will let you do that?
Well,
I didn't
yeah,
know there was a lounge that will let you sit in there without buying a cigar.
some do. There are some I've
Okay.
seen. It's just it's poor taste. There's not a lot. Some of them will probably charge you a cutting fee.
I've seen that where people that actually have lockers at the lounge, where it's a whole different dynamic.
Look, if you bought a locker,
you're
yeah,
buying a locker.
absolutely. You've already
Yeah.
you have pre-purchased your time.
That's a
there.
whole nother.
But I'm saying
that's a whole
I've never
nother
seen a
thing.
lounge that would let you just walk in with a travel humidor
Yeah.
and just smoke
Well,
your cigars.
I think a lot of times when you see that, it's like, okay, I got a job at a lounge and I let my buddy come in. I'm like, man, don't worry about it. Just bring your own shit. I ain't gonna say anything, and you can hang out with me.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. If you're smoking when you're done with the cigar, just put it in the ashtray. Sit it in
Don't
the
stamp
ashtray
it out
nicely.
like
Don't
yeah,
stamp
don't
it
put
out
it
like
in.
a cigarette. It's not a cigarette.
Yeah.
Respect
That
the
ruins the ashtray.
I've told this story before. My first time at a B&M was with some guys when I first started smoking in 2018. I went to a lounge in Minnesota and hung out with a couple of guys. And the first cigar I smoked, I didn't know what to do. I stamped it out like a cigarette. And one of the guys just kind of gave me a look and he pulled me aside. He's like, "Hey, don't do that." I'm like, "Okay." I just wanted to make sure it was out. He's like, "Just set it down. They'll come around and get it when it's out." He's like, "You want to respect the cigar. The cigar just gave you an experience, right? It gave you,
There you go.
something that
That's a good way to
you
put
want to
it.
remember. So you want to respect the cigar. And so you don't just stamp it out. Like if you're out and about and you throw it on the ground, like I've seen people do that, but that's not lounge etiquette. That's just like, you don't, it's not really littering, but if you're going to do that, make sure it's out before you throw it in the grass or whatever. What are some other things that come to mind that somebody should or shouldn't do? Should they talk politics at the lounge, Sean and Brian?
No.
No.
No, religion and politics. I have a strict rule on that because we don't want to exclude anybody, and so I think that I make sure that if I hear conversations like that, I put a nip to it and steer it in another direction. Those are hot button topics, and that's not good cigar etiquette because that takes you away from relaxation because it brings stress. It boils your blood. No matter where you stand on the fence or what you're doing, it doesn't matter. You're there to enjoy a cigar, not to do a political debate or figure out whether or not you should go to church on Sunday. So we need to just keep those things out.
What about people that decides to have their own little long ash competitions and then end up dropping it all over the fucking floor?
Well, if there's I don't have an issue with that. Our floors aren't carpet.
It's gonna
Cigar
happen.
ash.
Look,
Okay, he
cigar-
doesn't have
cigar
an issue
ash
with
on-
this because this man ashes in the freaking refrigerator.
Well, I mean, but okay,
Yeah,
like
I ash
i-
everywhere. But
if
I'm always
you're-
talking, I'm a hands talker, so I fling ashes all over the place.
I'm not talking about a 1-inch ash.
Yeah, you got to pay attention to the lounge. If the lounge is carpeted or you're sitting in a chair that has a rug underneath it, maybe that's not a good idea, just because that might be harder to clean up. Or, I mean, typically cigar ashes don't burn surfaces, but
Not
it
true.
does happen.
what are you talking about? You know how many holes in shorts and shirts
Yeah.
and pants I have from ash just landing on it?
I'm talking about when you're doing long ashes. By the time that drops, that's cold.
I'm
But,
talking about the fact that maybe it's not the floor, but in the fucking chair. Like I've seen people do this where like
that's bad.
they're sitting there and
Clean up
they're
after
smoking
yourself.
the thing like they're a bird getting fed by their mother.
well, that's
Yeah,
what
got
I,
the
that's
head
what
on
I
the
was
back.
going to say, Brian. Is if you make
Clean
the
up
mess,
after
at least offer to clean it up. You know, a lot of
I mean, if
times,
you have
you
a-
know,
Yeah. If you have a very attentive, if you have somebody working the lounge and they see that, maybe they'll clean that up for you. But you should always offer first, hey man, I just ashed in the chair. Let me get up and try to at least wipe it onto the floor so it's easier to clean, because it, make sure they ain't burning the chair, because some lounges don't have leather chairs and they're cloth, and you don't want to make sure you burn it. Or leave a smell in it, because, the whole idea is you don't want a lot of odor. And I know this sounds weird, but you don't want a lot of odor in lounges because, so cleanliness is, and some of that starts with your patrons.
Clean up
you
after
don't want your
yourself.
lounge to
don't-
smell like
don't pee on the
ashtrays and
floor.
buttholes.
Yeah, you're not. You're not
pee
at
on the
home,
floor. Don't
You're
don't
not
pee
at
in the
home.
sink. Don't do stuff that you wouldn't do at home.
right? Well, I mean, that's
Yeah.
why that was part of the reason why you guys landed on a square toilet. Which, if you guys have never seen a square toilet, it's glorious.
Oh my god!
It's the greatest thing ever. Besides just meeting Shauna and Brian, you should go to Livermore and go to Smoldering Cigar just to use the square toilet. It's amazing.
It's much
But that was
easier
part of the
for men
reason
to pee
it's
in.
much easier for men to
It
hit the target. You guys have less
You guys
cleanup.
actually miss less.
Yeah.
There's less
Like,
of
look,
them on the floor.
I think at the end of the day, the biggest thing that new cigar smokers and cigar smokers at large can do is just not treat a lounge like it's your home, because it's not. Like, treat it better. Treat it better.
Right.
Respect the people that are trying to respect you.
This is a hobby.
Want to come back.
Yeah, this is a hobby that costs money, a lot of money. We literally light money on fire for fun. That's what we do. I've said that before. It's like rolling up if there were $7 or $8 bills. This McAuliffe Red is what I chose for my second cigar. It's like rolling up money and just lighting it on fire. So have a little respect for the folks that have put the time, energy, and money into having a lounge. And it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, is it, guys?
No, it's not. And read the lounge. Some lounges, like our lounge, we don't want you to pick up your glasses. We want you to always stay seated. If you want something new, we'll ask you. So read the lounge. If the lounge has areas where where you're getting your own glasses to pour drinks or whatever, and there's no one there attended, then pick up that glass and to get a new one. Don't leave a mess. If there's not someone there walking around, just because maybe they're busy and they can't, just kind of read the room with how it is. You want to leave it the way you left it so that the next person that comes in is enjoying it too.
Yeah. The whole Boy Scout rule, leave it the way you found it, or better.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of the responsibility of the way that customers act in your store is based on the owner or the person that's running the store. You should have put up a list of rules.
That's a good point.
Even we should put up a list of rules, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
No politics, no this, no don't do this, don't do that. New cigar smokers don't know they're not supposed to smash out their cigar, and some people don't know that they're a new cigar smoker.
Okay. What about talking on the cell phone while you're sitting there? Should you have a conversation on the phone?
I think if you pick, every lounge has corners where they're supposed to be quiet corners that I've seen. There'll be the far off chair. Now, I haven't been to a lot of lounges. I've been to some lounges. Even we went down to Kentucky. There are areas where, that is appropriate. Like for us when we were in Kentucky, when I went to that big lounge down there, which was Fat Ash. Outside was the appropriate place to take phone calls because you're going to be a little bit louder. You're talking. It was very quiet that day. There wasn't no music going, no TV is running. It was just people talking. So you don't want to have that conversation in the middle. If you're sitting, most lounges the chairs should be seated in a communicative type situation where, you're almost forced to talk to people. That's the idea. And so when a phone call comes, maybe that's the time you get up and maybe walk around the store, or if they have a patio, that would be a good time to hit the patio. That's a good point. And on top of that, I don't know that you want people to know your personal questions. What if your wife asks you, something really crazy, and you gotta
like, did you
respond to
pick
it,
up your boner pills tonight? That's what I was going to say. Was if you're going to take the call, take the call. What annoys me is when you answer the call and it's instant speakerphone, and now I'm part of the conversation.
So the simple answer is no, you're not supposed to take that call in the middle of the store. Be respectful. Okay. It's simple. Be respectful.
Here's the thing that I am a big proponent of adults. Well, but also adults should act like adults. And when a lounge has rules up, I'm going to be honest, that makes me think that they have not cultivated a culture that I want to be a part of.
That's why we don't put rules up.
So if there are rules up, I'm like, these guys are not adults. Like, they don't know how to act like adults.
I see it a little bit differently.
Go ahead.
I agree with James on that.
The lounge I see it a little differently because when a lounge puts up rules, I think it has more to do with people that have never been there before.
Yes.
Not so much the people that are already there. So if you're looking at a list of rules and you're judging the clientele that's already there, they're the base customer for that store, and they're the regulars. Those are not the people that the rules were meant for. It's for the people that come in and don't understand the etiquette of what the lounge is, like how you're supposed to act and what the lounge is actually providing for you.
I agree with that.
I see
statement.
your point, but as an owner of a cigar store, if I had multiple employees, it's my job to make sure I'm training everybody to the right standard, that we're making sure that those things aren't happening in the lounge, and that you have the ability to politely say, "Hey, man, we don't take our pants off in the lounge." And stuff like that.
You got to put that rule.
Well, clearly you got to take your shirt
I'm
off
sorry
in the lounge.
again. But I think if you do something like with rules, though, you can do it like in an artistic manner, or you could do it.
Lounge etiquette is
right. You could do it almost like a little drink menu that's on the table.
Exactly.
I think, if I walked into a lounge and they just had a couple rules on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that they printed from their printer hanging on the wall, that would be a little silly to me. But there's got to be a way you can do it where it makes sense.
If it's like a scroll that's written in like Old English,
right?
Tablet from Mount Sinai.
Yeah.
Right, but you don't want to offend people by making their education level or their intelligence level so low that we're all thinking we're kindergartners.
Well,
you gotta imagine that everybody that's coming, or at least I believe, everybody that's coming to a lounge, even if they've never been to a lounge, has an adult attitude that they're going to come in and see what the lounge is doing first before they act like crazy. And then I feel that
you've lost your mind.
So
okay.
here's one for you.
Me.
What about hygiene and wearing deodorant?
Okay.
I have that problem.
Oh wow! Wow!
Look,
I've had that problem.
I didn't know it was going to take that turn, but okay.
People's hygiene.
All right, look.
That is extremely delicate. That is a hard
It
thing
is,
to handle.
and I've had to handle that as a owner, or as a boss, as a manager. I've had to deal with employees that, you know, didn't have the best hygiene. It's always a delicate situation and a delicate conversation, and I don't know what that looks like from a consumer standpoint. Hold on. Cigar Clown says on the flip side of it, if there are also lounges that have unknowledgeable staff who just ring up customers, have zero knowledge of what they have in the humidor,
should not be running the lounge.
Right, I totally agree with the rule aspect of what you guys are talking about. Here's my thing with the rules. Like, this is, I wanted to say this about the rules. I kind of look at it the way I looked at it when I was in my younger years and would go to clubs. If I walked into a club and it's like, and the rules are posted that say, you know, you can't wear a hat, you can't wear certain colors, and no firearms are allowed. I'm like, I may not want to go here. I may not.
You just turned around and walked away.
Turn around and walk out. And I kind of feel the same way with lounges. If I see those types of rules posted, it's like, well, they're posting them for a reason, because they've had a problem. Now, do they still have the problem, or do they not? And because it's cigars, and it is kind of there's a barrier of entry, like disposable income would be that barrier. Normally people with disposable income don't act the fool. Normally.
Those people have disposable income that are going into that nightclub with the gun.
I agree with what your patron said is that, you know, but here's the thing, man. It is up to the owner to train the people the way you want your lounge to be. You know, the way I got my lounge set, it's an old English gentleman's club, and we have a +1 because we do want women to be involved in our cigar store, because I'm a big supporter of women in the cigar industry. I think that's a market that is not met, I think, in that way. And so we always want people to feel welcome. But when my kids run the store, they know exactly how everybody should be treated if I'm not there or Shauna's not there, because that is training. That is what you have to do. You have to train your people, because you never know. That one customer that might look like he could afford a $2 drink could be your next $6,000 cigar buyer. You just
That's
don't,
true.
you know, clothes anymore don't make the person like they used to. So you got to treat everybody like they want something special. And that's what you need to get across as a lounge owner to your employees. I think up to the employees.
Now everyone knows that when Jeff walks into a lounge, he's a special superstar. He should be treated as the special superstar that he is.
Was that a throwback?
Too, don't you have a
it was we call that a callback in the industry. Callback.
Yeah, I think James is trying to get me on something because I break his balls so much.
You do bust my balls all the fucking time. I don't understand. I'm nothing but nice.
Do you wear a cape when you go into lounge? I was going to wear it tonight. I should have had it on.
Don't put on your smoking jacket. Jesus Christ.
We have a smoking jacket club, you know, and that was hard to get people introduced to that. You know, people would make fun of, you know, but once people saw it being kind of a norm, they get like, hey, man, can I get one of those too? You know, I mean, it is up to every cigar lounge is.
Oh, we're going with house slippers next, James. Don't scoff at me.
Yeah, it is up to the cigar owners to make the lounge experience. It unfortunately, I want it to be the customers, but the customers are only as intelligent as the cigar. You know, they don't know.
They don't know what they don't know.
They go,
Yep. They don't know what they don't know. Well, I'm really glad we had this conversation about lounge etiquette. I feel like we solved all of the lounge's problems across the country. People need to listen to this episode of After Dark and everything.
And don't smoke the infused cigars in a room full of regular cigar smokers.
I'm glad you brought that back. I'm glad you brought that back up, because I want to tell this story so bad. Cigar Clown says, I've just dealt with shops like that in the past as a brand owner and a consumer. Yeah, they're not easy to deal with. I want to talk about the infused. We were sitting in a lounge, myself and our one of our lifetime members of the LE Club, Randall Carmichael.
Lifetime members.
Got one of. We have two now. But he was the first. And he somebody was sitting in a lounge. and I smelled it. You can smell it right away. As soon as somebody lights it up, you can smell it. And there's a delicate way you can handle this, and there's the Randy way you can handle this. And what Randy did was he goes, "Who's smoking the fucking potpourri?"
Yeah, that's Randy.
I love Randy.
And this guy, I felt so bad for him. He was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, and he's like, "Are you smoking a fucking infused cigar?" He's like, "Well, yeah, I'm smoking whatever it was." And Randy goes, "Put that fucking shit stick out right now. I'm gonna go buy you a real cigar." Thanks for tuning in, Cigar Clowns. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks, man. Appreciate your support. So he takes this guy, he puts the cigar down. He takes this guy in the humidor, buys him a cigar. And to this day, this was several years ago, to this day, that guy thanks Randy for doing that. Because he's like, I didn't know what I was missing. I just thought the flavored stuff was where it was at. He's like, and now he's into all of this stuff. He's a big, like a McAuliffe smoker. He's a big Drew Estate smoker. He loves the blackened cigar. Maybe don't handle it like Randy. Don't be like, who's smoking the fucking potpourri? But you can say, hey, have you tried a premium hand-rolled cigar? Like, I appreciate that you're here. You're smoking. It's great. We need more cigar smokers. But have you tried what is maybe just kind of gently bring them into the fold?
I will say that's balls, man. That is balls.
Well, have you met Randy at the Mile Kentucky Herf this last year, didn't you, Jeff? Did I introduce you to Randy?
I don't think so.
Well, the next time
you would know if you've met Randy.
Yeah,
I will say
you would
this.
know.
You would not.
Talking to some like lounge owners and everything, and just chatting on Zooms. And when it comes to infused cigars, they would tell you flat out that the biggest buyers of infused cigars are bike clubs, bikers. And I'm just like, that's balls, because that's one of those things where you say it to the wrong guy, that could be a real problem.
Well,
yeah,
or not, it can be kind of so. Like if you include the Drew Estate, like the Sweet Jane and the Crazy Alice and all that,
the three
stuff.
bitches,
Girls.
the three bitches.
Yeah, the bitches. By the way, I was just educated by my new Drew Estate rep that they don't like to call them bitches anymore because it can be offensive. So they're calling them vixens now. And I went, nope,
I'm offensive. I'm offended by that.
I said, nope, they're the bitches. Anyway, so, but that's where a lot of women start.
The three Vics.
Oh my god!
Quit
Look,
trying
Sean
to
is-
church it up, Yerte.
Yeah, stop trying to church it up, Dirte.
The bitches.
Sean is just like, no, it's the three bitches. Sean is like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck. But women have a tendency to start with those kinds of cigars.
Yes.
Like men have started with those kind of cigars
Men
as
have
well,
started with those cigars, but
and there's nothing inherently wrong with those cigars. Like I want to be clear. Like if you want to smoke a Gurkha, smoke a Gurkha. If you want to smoke a Cuba Cuba, smoke a Cuba. Sure,
I'm
you are.
smoking Gurkha.
You want to smoke whatever. It's smoke what you like. But if you're smoking an infused cigar, a flavored cigar, that's you have to know it's a gateway. I don't want to call it a gateway drug, but it's a gateway to a larger world of much better cigars that are not
It is
infused.
But as a lounge owner, you can do when you have those guys, and you should know those people or women. Make sure you sit them next to the exhaust fan or the air scrubber or
outside,
But if
or
you're the
invite
lounge
them to
owner-
say or out back.
smoke it in their car or at
But
home.
if you're the lounge owner, you sold them that cigar. And if you know that they're going to stay and they have people and you have people in the back, then you need to tell them, unfortunately, it's just not proper etiquette to smoke that in the room with all these other people. So that goes along the education level of you educating your peoples.
Yeah, we used to at the place I worked many moons ago, 20 plus years ago. Somebody would buy a new shirt or whatever, and they'd come in and we'd be like, "Oh, that's a great shirt," and they'd be like, "Oh, thanks," and we'd tell them, we'd ask, "Did it come in a men's?" It's kind of similar thing. Someone buys an infused cigar. Did that not come in a? You don't say that. That's terrible. It's terrible and sexist and misogynist. Do not.
What about you?
Do not.
That's fucking hilarious.
I knew Shauna would love that. Shauna like, that's fucking great. I want to thank all of our LE Club members who joined tonight. Guesticles, Shauna and Brian Boland from Smoldering Cigar in Livermore, Iowa. If you're ever in the Des Moines area, take the 1.5-hour drive northwest and check out Smoldering Cigars. It will be worth the trip. I promise. They're great people. It's a great lounge. They've got a great selection of cigars, knowledgeable, fun people running it. Tell them I sent you. Tell them you watched them and you wanted to go in and you wanted to see what they were all about and you wanted to use their square toilet. They will love it. They will absolutely love it. I want to thank Jeff Dillingham, J. Rigged, for jumping on tonight, one of our newest reviewers here at simplystogies.com. Go to simplystogies.com. Check out his review of the McAuliffe Red. Again, I think the score might be a little low, but it's a fair score. It's a very fair score. And this is a great cigar. And so I appreciate Jeff's time and insight into what he's doing with cigar reviews. So check him out, simplystogies.com. And while you're there, if you want to become an LE Club member, click the LE Club in the top right corner, $10 a month, $100 a year. And you can jump on this with us and you can ask us questions. You can be part of the conversations. You can steer it whichever way you want. You can tell me how insane I am. Or you can just bust my balls along with Jeff and Tim, which is usually what happens. So I want to thank everybody once again. I want to thank our sponsors, smallbatchcigar.com, Lure Cigars, and Blackbird Cigars for sponsoring this episode of After Dark. Join us on Tuesday where the new episode of Clear the Air drops, where we talk about Dan Thompson from McAuliffe Cigars behind his back. And then on the 15th of this month, we've got Daniel Marshall on, and we talk about humidors and his journey and how he got there and the industry at large. And he's got some great stories. He's got some great stories with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Make sure you check that out. There's going to be a special coupon code for our viewers and listeners where you can get 40% off Daniel Marshall humidor and his cigars. The Red, which is I've heard is fantastic. So check that episode out. And then, of course, on the 15th or on the 22nd, we'll be talking about Daniel behind his back and putting it out there for everybody to listen to. So that's Shauna right there who is standing up. That's Tim. And then way over there is Jeff. And then down in that corner, Jesus, this is fucking hard. That's Brian. I'm James. Until next time, guys, stay smoky, my friends.